Well, hello, friends. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Reading Michael Jackson. I am your host, Lena, and while I am, of course, happy to be here with you today, as always, June 25th is a hard day in the Michael Jackson community, so I can't say I'm happy to be here, but I am happy to be here. You know what I mean? Either way, today I am sharing this bonus episode of Reading Michael Jackson in honor of the 17th anniversary of Michael Jackson's death. As we all know, if you're here, Michael Jackson died on June 25th, 2009. And every year since then, fans around the world have made it their/our mission to honor him on this day. So I've been thinking for a while about how do I want to honor Michael, and I've thought through it quite a bit, but I had landed on something that I hope you do enjoy that is very much in the vein of season 1 of Reading Michael Jackson, but we'll get to that in just a moment. If you are new to Reading Michael Jackson, firstly, I want to welcome you and say I'm so happy that you decided to check out this podcast. Reading Michael Jackson is a podcast that is all about understanding Michael on a deeper level, primarily through reading and closely analyzing the work that he created in his life. With season 1, we focused on his book of poetry and short essays called Dancing the Dream. In season 2, we focused on his autobiography, Moonwalk. We've had bonus episodes here and there throughout, including just a couple of weeks ago on June 13th. But for the most part, each season has been pretty structured. I'm currently developing season 3, so if you like what you hear today or you've enjoyed the other seasons, please subscribe so that you are notified when I do drop that. I wish I could tell you when it will happen, but I have no idea. My goal is sometime this summer. The other thing I do want to mention before we get into today's topic and focus is that I'm currently having some home construction done. And so I am sorry to say, you might hear some hammering. I would not be recording right now if this wasn't the only hour I would have to be able to record leading up to the release of the episode. I am very busy right now. I have a lot going on and I don't have a lot of time, sadly. So if you end up hearing that in the background, I do apologize if it's distracting. I will do my best to drown it out with editing and music, but what can I say? You know, I need a roof over my head, quite literally. That's what's getting worked on. So well, what can I do? With all of that said, though, like I said, I've been very busy recently, and I've actually had very little time for Michael, which, if you've been listening a while, you know is very problematic for me because he's like my lifeblood. But I've really not had a lot of time to even really listen to him. I'm recovering from a recent surgery, so I haven't even really been going on walks very much, which is my primary time is walking and driving are the primary times I listen to him. So I've just not been with Michael. I haven't been present with our man in a while, and that is such a bummer to me, especially leading up to June 25th of all days. You know, like I want to feel at my most connected to Michael when we're getting to this day, which is all about honoring him and honoring and celebrating his life, I would say. Actually, every year since I've been a fan, I have tried to, in some way or another, honor him on June 25th. And even before I started this podcast, my first year when I was a fan, actually, I created this really big drawing for Michael of an elephant and 7 sunflowers. And if you know anything about Michael, you know how he feels about sunflowers, how he feels about elephants, the number 7, all of it for me was about Michael. And I remember finishing it and being very proud of it, but resenting that I had to go to a child's birthday party that day because I was like, I just want to be home and cry about Michael. And I was only a fan for like 6 months at that time. So that tells you how seriously I became very quickly. But after that, though, every year for the first few years, I drew something in honor of Michael. And whether that was a portrait of him or an animal or something that just for me felt connected to him. And last year was my first year with this podcast, and I recorded a special episode that was actually of me reading a brief essay that I wrote about my experience driving up the coast in California and visiting Neverland for the first time. Now, again, I did not physically go inside of Neverland, but I was outside of the gates and spent a great deal of time there, and it was really transformative and really incredible to me. So if you are interested in hearing that story, then please check out last year's June 25th episode, and I'll be sure to link it as well. But this year, I wanted to think, what can we do that is in line with the way we think about this podcast? And while I'm not reading something that Michael wrote, I am reading something that was written about Michael and in honor of Michael. And so this podcast will have two parts. I'm going to start out by doing a reading and discussion, and then I'm going to share at the end some thoughts about how we can all try to honor Michael in our own way, not just on June 25th, but just in general. And I have some thoughts on that I want to share. So to get started, though, I spent a little bit of time thinking about what do I think would be a nice contribution to not only the plethora of fans that will be doing something to honor Michael today, but to this podcast that's in line with what we do here. And immediately, without having to think about it too hard, I thought of the beautiful tribute poem that was written for Michael after he passed away by Maya Angelou. And it is called We Had Him. And so I would imagine, at the very least, most American listeners will be very familiar with Maya Angelou. Maya Angelou is an incredibly renowned poet and writer from the United States. She's widely known for writing about and reflecting the African American experience, and she's considered one of the greatest modern poets and writers. So for Maya Angelou to write this poem about Michael is really telling, and it's really beautiful to be able to share. So I'm really excited actually to read this piece. We Had Him was a poem that Maya Angelou wrote for Michael's memorial service, which took place on July 7th, 2009. And the poem, I believe, was publicly read and recited by Queen Latifah. So it is a poem that has made the rounds and people know it. But if you haven't heard it, or if you just haven't heard it in a while and you would like to stick around and hear these beautiful words of tribute from Maya Angelou, then please do. So now is the time that I invite you to relax, get comfortable, and get cozy, and join me for this reading of We Had Him. We had him. Beloveds, now we know that we know nothing. Now that our bright and shining star can slip away from our fingertips like a puff of summer wind. Without notice, our dear love can escape our doting embrace, sing our songs among the stars, and walk our dances across the face of the moon. In the instant we learn that Michael is gone, we know nothing. No clocks can tell our time, and no oceans can rush our tides. With the abrupt absence of our treasure. Though we are many, each of us is achingly alone, piercingly alone. Only when we confess our confusion can we remember that he was a gift to us, and we did have him. He came to us from the Creator, trailing creativity in abundance. Despite the anguish of life, he was sheathed in mother love and family love and survived and did more than that. He thrived with passion and compassion, humor and style. We had him. Whether we knew who he was or did not know, he was ours and we were his. We had him. Beautiful, delighting our eyes, he raked his hat slant over his brow and took a pose on his toes for all of us, and we laughed and stomped our feet for him. We were enchanted with his passion because he held nothing. He gave us all he had been given. Today in Tokyo, beneath the Eiffel Tower, In Ghana's Black Star Square, Johannesburg, in Pittsburgh, in Birmingham, Alabama, in Birmingham, England, we are missing Michael Jackson. But we know that we had him. And we are the world. Oh my God. Okay, so I knew I loved this poem, but I intentionally did not read it again prior to recording this. And I had to stop so many times toward the end because I started crying. I don't know if that will come across in the final edit, but wow. I'm so moved and so touched by this. And to be honest, I started out by saying, I don't feel, I haven't had a lot of time for Michael recently, and every time I have that happen, I think, I don't feel as connected right now to his art or whatever, or to him or whatever the case may be. And then I read this and all of it just aligned, immediately it aligned, because that is the power of poetry, first of all. And that is, I think more importantly, in this case, that is the power of Michael Jackson. And so I am so moved by this poem. I am so happy I chose this poem to read and share with you. And I can't wait to discuss it. I have so many thoughts and so many things that I don't even know where to begin. I guess it makes sense to begin at the beginning. I'm out of practice. I haven't discussed poetry on this podcast since season 1, so bear with me. Okay, so the title and the repeated phrase, "we had him," is so heavily weighted because it both signifies the past. We no longer have, but we had him. But it also signals a reminder, like we're not only mourning that he's gone, but we're reminding ourselves that he was here, right? We had him. Like, can you believe it? Can you? I often can't, to be honest, when I think about Michael, and I think that the hardest part for me as a fan, but as someone who's just an admirer of Michael also, not just a fan of his music, but an admirer of him as a person, is trying to hold within my mind the totality of him all at once. The remarkable talent, of course, and the many branches of that talent that was on such a high and unforeseen level. But then also the totality of him as a human being, who he was, what he believed, how he carried himself, what he gave. So much that drove him, that inspired him. It's hard to believe one person can be so many things and in such a degree and affect so many lives. It's truly overwhelming. So I often have to remind myself that he's real. I spend so much of this podcast trying to humanize him by simply acknowledging that he is in fact human. But I joke so often, right, about it because it's hard, even as a fan that's so conscious of his humanity and wants so deeply to honor his humanity. There's no other human like him. And so it's hard sometimes to remember that he was only human and that we had him, we had him. Sorry, I'm still so emotional. It's hard to do this. So this beautiful title, right? I'm immediately locked into it. Beloveds, now we know that we know nothing. Oh my goodness. I just am overwhelmed. I just could cry again. It's just, now we know that we know nothing. What a confession and an admission and a surrender. Now we know that we know nothing. What does she mean by that? I think she can mean so many things. The way I will tell you my way of understanding that line right after we had him. But to start out, beloveds, it's using this language like we are part of a congregation and this is part of a prayer or a sermon, Now we know that we know nothing. In this instant of loss, we know nothing. So, of course, if you don't know that this poem is about Michael Jackson. What you do know at the very start of this poem and in the first line is that something tremendous has happened. Something that will change everything and change us has happened. Because now we know that we know nothing. Now we have surrendered to this moment. Now that our bright and shining star can slip away from our fingertips like a puff of summer wind. This idea, when someone is larger than life, like Michael Jackson, that they cannot die. Now, of course, we will talk about, and just the fact that we're doing this at all right now signifies that he, in terms of our memory of him, his impact, that has not died. But he, in his physical form, did die. And now that our bright and shining star can slip away from our fingertips like a puff of summer wind, it reminds us how fleeting it all is. That we could think someone will be there forever and they're not going to be, and it's not possible. Whether Michael died at 50 like he did, or he died when he was 90 like we all wish he would have to, he would have died at some point. But the reality of a person's death, when that person is so significant to the world, is so larger than our own brains can wrap our minds around, it's like a gut punch. It's not only their loss, it's like the reminder of our own mortality, the mortality of everyone and everything, and the temporal nature of life. It's so much can slip away from our fingertips like a puff of summer wind, so easily, so freely slipping away. I love that she calls him our bright and shining star. It makes me really emotional, honestly, because I feel like what she captures in that line, but throughout the whole poem, is, in a way, Michael represented the very best of us. In so many ways, he represented the very best of us. And he was a global star, as she talks about later. So it's not just an American thing. It's not just an African-American thing. It's not just a music thing or a 1980s thing or whatever. You know, he so entirely transcended every one of the limitations attached to those identities. He transcended that. And so here we are, our collective bright and shining star slipping away from our fingertips. Without notice, our dear love can escape our doting embrace, sing our songs among the stars, and walk our dances across the faces of the moon. She goes on to say, for anyone who doesn't know what this is about, in the instant we learn that Michael is gone, we know nothing. No clocks can tell our time, no oceans can rush our tides with the abrupt absence of our treasure. I love that she's continuing that possessive, that plural possessive our, again, the collective treasure. We are all in a collective state of grief, in a state of suspension. Time stands still. Nothing can stop these feelings and this rush of how did this happen? And now that he's gone, we know nothing. We're reminded of it all again. She goes on, though we are many, each of us is achingly alone, piercingly alone. Only when we confess our confusion can we remember that he was a gift to us and we did have him. This whole part is so special to me because, as much as I was just saying a moment ago, you know, Michael transcends all of these identity markers in all of these different groups. The point of that mattering is that if there's a through line through human life on this planet in the late 20th century, Michael Jackson is that through line. He's the only person that everyone knows, no matter who you are, where you're from, how old you are, what you look like, what you believe in, what language you speak. Everyone knew him. He is the connecting force that everyone knew. And as she reminds us, though we are all alone, but our collective confusion, our collective grief and mourning is a reminder that he was a gift, as she said, to all of us. And we did have him, and it did exist. And what this moment, when she says this, we can remember that he was a gift to us and we did have him. What that makes me think of is this idea that in our greatest sorrow and grief, when this time passes and the reality of his absence sets in and is to be believed, and we are now 17 years later, and as we progress forward in time, the people who were there at the time collectively share that he was here and we had him, and the people who are here now today, 17 years later, can say and look back, we as in humanity had him, and he was a gift that came from something and somewhere. And then she immediately reminds us where. She says he came to us from the Creator, which is exactly how Michael would have described any bit of music, art, creative ideas and impulses, where they came from, the Creator, right? And she reminds us he came to us from the Creator. Because if you think about it the way Michael thinks about music coming to him, where he is open to it and he's asking for it and he is a recipient of it and he is ready to do something with it. It's kind of like that. Like we as a collective, as humanity, needed that. We needed someone to come and be here as this gift, as she says. And Michael is who we were given. And it's just such a beautiful way of capturing the essence of him, because it's not just that he made great music, and it's not just that people enjoyed and were entertained by him. It's that the whole world at once saw themselves in him in some way and connected in some way to him and cared for him and was delighted by him and was comforted by his aliveness. He came to us from the Creator, trailing creativity in abundance. And this is a part I love so much. She says, despite the anguish of life, he survived and did more than that. And that is so important to me to read, because Michael did have an incredibly difficult life, but so many of us do. And to survive your life is sometimes the only thing we can dream of doing, is just to survive the hardship and the uncertainty and the frailty and sometimes even the injustice of our lives. Surviving is sometimes the main thing we're striving for. I love that she says, despite the anguish of life, he was sheathed in mother love and family love and survived and did more than that. He didn't just survive. He thrived with passion and compassion, humor and style. We had him, she reminds us. Whether we knew who he was or did not know, he was ours and we were his. We had him. And I love this too, because now I just said everyone knew him, right? But there's knowing Michael Jackson and there's knowing Michael Jackson. Now, of course, there are billions of people on the planet. Not quite literally everyone knows who he is by name or face or what music, whatever. Of course, not literally everyone knows. And then there are people who know him. They know who he is. They know his songs. They know of him. And then there's the people who really know him. The people who really take the time to know and understand him. But there's so many people who think they know Michael Jackson and don't. And that exists on the nefarious side of the people who think they know him and all the negative things they associate with him. And it even exists on the fan side, where we think because of how much we love him and identify with him and how much we pay attention to everything he said and did and try to understand it, we can tell ourselves we knew him. But the truth is, we all are limited in what we know of him and about him. And yet, she says, and she reminds us, whether we knew who he was or did not know, he was ours and we were his. The point being, when a gift comes to the world from the Creator or from God, when a gift is given to the world, it's given to everyone. And it lasts, and it exists, and it continues, and it lasts. And so now we have, 17 years later, me, a person who was not a fan of Michael when he died, recording a podcast like this, and all of you listening to it. But we also have children who weren't even a thought in existence yet, 3 and 4 and 5 years old, 10 years old, becoming fans of Michael Jackson in a real way. I mean, deeply immersing themselves in his life, in his music, in his art, in his image, and everything, the magic, everything he gave. And that is so meaningful, because what it means is that the gift of Michael from the creator, as she's explaining it, is something that goes on forever. And it is something that is available to everyone because we had him. Because even if he's gone now, we had him. Because we have to remind ourselves and not ever forget that we had him. And if we didn't appreciate him when he was alive, and I will say I didn't, so I'm not calling any of you out. I wasn't a fan of him yet. I didn't know to appreciate, if we didn't appreciate him when he was alive, we still have him in that way. But that's the contention of this entire piece, right? Is we're both mourning the physical loss of him while also reminding ourselves that we did once have this person. And I don't see any reason that would have to be limited to the past, but also as a gift that continues to give. Beautiful, delighting our eyes. He raked his hat slant over his brow and took a pose on his toes for all of us, and we laughed and stomped our feet for him. I don't know why that line specifically makes me emotional, but it does. And I guess to some degree it's because whenever I kind of zoom out when I'm thinking about Michael and I try to really see the bigger picture of what I'm looking at when I'm watching him, or when I'm thinking about him or curious about him, or whatever the case may be, about what makes him so amazing. When I zoom out and I look, I think everything he did was for all of us. Every ounce of hard work and determination and relentlessness and passion and the striving and the physical and emotional and mental sacrifices to create what he did and to be what he was, all of it was something that he gave to us, and we responded accordingly. We as humans, that is, as a collective humans, we responded accordingly. Now, so I read this in a really beautiful way first, right? A really positive way. He raked his hat slant over his brow and took a pose on his toes for all of us, and we laughed and stomped our feet at him. I read the laughter and the stomping of feet in this beautiful way. I think it could be read also in a really sad way. I don't think this is her intention, but I want to share this because it's a thought I had. I've often thought about how Michael gave so much and tried so hard, and in the end he was laughed at. And I don't mean that in a sweet way. I mean that in a pained, the world collectively turned their back on him. Again, I want to be clear, so many fans never did. So I'm not talking about those fans that were completely committed to him and supportive of him. I'm talking about the fans who turned on him, or the collective, population and the media and all of that who turned on him. The idea that someone so genuine and sincere would be putting everything out there for us and anyone would respond with anything but gratitude is so sad to me. It's so sad. But again, I don't think that's how she meant it here, but I can't help it didn't cross my mind, because this whole reminder of we had him, sometimes I think of it as, like I said, it's a reference to the past that he is gone, but also a reminder that he was here. At the same time, to me, it's a statement of mourning. Like, remember the time, no pun intended, remember the time when we lived on this earth and there was a person who made everyone who saw him gasp with delight and amazement. A person that made everyone who saw him excited and happy that they were alive in those moments that they were seeing him. A person who gave so much to everyone. Can you believe it? Do you remember how that was once a great thing for all of us? So I think that it's just hard because it's like the poem brings up so many conflicting and powerful feelings, about both appreciating Michael, but also mourning not only Michael, but mourning the lack of appreciation for the fact that he was only human and he would ultimately die. And truly, no one was prepared for it. And to this day, it is still hard to accept and hard to believe, even so many years later. She continues, "We were enchanted with his passion because he held nothing. He gave us all he had been given." And this part, oh my God, this is something I feel so strongly, and I have said every time I watch Michael perform, but it's not just about performance. I want to be clear about that. But every time I've watched him perform, the thought that always is on my mind is that he is holding nothing back. He's keeping nothing for himself. All of it is being put out there, and there's nothing he's doing to protect himself. There's nothing he's doing to mitigate what a sacrifice it is to get up there every day and give and give and give endlessly. Now, I'm not saying Michael got nothing back, because something was restoring him that allowed him to continue giving. And I do believe that his fans were a huge part of that. But it's so enchanting, as she says, to observe his passion because there's almost no one who holds nothing back, who gives everything that they've been given. It's so incredibly rare. And when you see it, it's so striking how rare it truly is. I think that that's at the heart of why when you watch him, you can't look away, But I want to touch upon even more than that, because it's not just about his performance, I think about all of him, again, the totality of him. When I think about just the gift of his music, period, and the effort he went through to create that music and put it out there for the world, I'm thinking about, in interviews when he would be asked, "What's your secret?" And all he would say is, "I put my heart into it." And for a lot of people, that might sound like, oh, that's kind of like a nothing answer, But for Michael, with what she's saying here, because he held nothing and he gave us all he had, essentially, I totally think that that's real. I think that's why a lot of people would say that would mean it figuratively. And to some degree, it's like Michael meant it literally. Like his entire lifeblood went into everything he did. It meant so much to him. And he tried so hard and never felt like he achieved anything that was enough to just relax, He just always felt the drive to continue to give and give and give. And it is enchanting to witness that, but the brightness of that kind of flame is also one that we do find shocking to see go out. So finally, she ends with, I think, the most beautiful way of capturing his global reach. Today in Tokyo, beneath the Eiffel Tower, in Ghana's Black Star Square. She goes on to mention all of these places around the world, in Birmingham, Alabama, and Birmingham, England. We are missing Michael Jackson. I've said this before, I think probably on this podcast, but I've definitely said it multiple times to other people. I've said before that, like, if you know what a Venn diagram is, where you're finding the likeness between different groups of people or different things, and where they overlap is the thing they have in common. I've often said that one of the only things I think that would really be in the center of any Venn diagram of all of humanity would be Michael Jackson. From every city in the world, no matter where, every continent in the world, we are missing Michael Jackson. And then she ends in the way that I think is so beyond perfect. But we do know that we had him. And we are the world. I just get chills like all over my body. I do. And I mean, it's this repetition of we had him, and the call back to the very beginning when she said, "Now we know that we know nothing." we may know nothing about how the world works, about how life works, about justice and injustice and God's plan, or whatever we think we know. We may feel in shock and awe that everything we thought we believed in slips through our fingers in moments of grief. But if we know anything at all, we know that we had him. And we are the world. And of course, we are the world is Michael's entire message of his life, kind of wrapped up in one phrase, Not only did he write the song, We Are the World, but everything he tried to do in his life, in his art, every message he tried to send. I often think about, the song Another Part of Me, which I've said before in this show it's like my soul song. I just feel it so deeply, everything about it. We Are the World really aligns with even that. Like, we are all one. We are all together, if nothing else but in this. But more importantly, I think Michael's message was always that we are all one, and that when we say we, I don't just mean you and I can mean all of us, because we are the world. It's kind of like how when you're thinking about mindfulness, you will think like there is no past and there is no present, because the only moment that's real that actually exists is right now. So you can think all you want about the future, but the future is never going to come, because by the time it comes, it is the present. You know what I mean? It never really exists on its own. It's kind of like that, where we do not exist separate from one another. We are all a part of the same fabric, and we are all the world. We are the world. I think this is one of the most tremendous ways to honor Michael, this incredible writer, incredible figure in African-American literature, in American literature, and global literature, to write a poem like this, to have this read at his memorial. We Had Him is at once devastating, at once revelatory, and of course, the ultimate honor to Michael. The reminder that we had him, and the reminder that we should do something with that. We should remember, and we should feel grateful. I often feel, legitimately, I feel grateful that I am alive during a time in human history that Michael Jackson is in the present moment. I didn't grow up as a Michael Jackson fan, and I didn't witness the incredible career and fame and everything that he experienced, especially in like the 80s. I was born in 1988. I had no way of experiencing or being a part of that, but I did still share the planet with him, which is remarkable. But even for those people, including listeners, who did not share the planet with Michael, which we have some, you are still in the timeline of this world where Michael Jackson as a name and as a person is known and talked about. And he, you live in a post-Michael Jackson world rather than someone who died before they ever experienced him or ever witnessed him. Because I don't think everything we get from Michael stems from us simply consuming what he created or observing him. I think there's a difference between being entertained by someone and watching someone and witnessing someone. For me, in this context, to be a witness is to knowingly stand and see and interpret and articulate and do something with what we have seen and what we've experienced. It's not passive, it's an active role to be a witness. So I think that for me, this poem sums up so much of that, but it also gets to another layer that I really want to talk about when it comes to this day and how we honor Michael and how we think about Michael. Because obviously I wanted to lead with and primarily focus on these incredibly wise and beautiful words from Maya Angelou, who honestly deserves the space and energy and attention, I think, more than I do. But I also want to share some things about my perspective on what do we do with this once we have bore witness to Michael Jackson. What do we do with that? And especially on a day like today. So as I close this episode today, which has been, it's been very meaningful to me, to be honest. It's helped me realign a little bit with my feelings and just, I don't know, it's been really wonderful. But as I close this episode today, I want to leave off with some thoughts about how do we honor Michael. And firstly, I think, if you're listening to this and you're sitting with this day in some way in honor of him, I think that is enough. I think it is enough to simply acknowledge that 17 years ago today, the tragedy of Michael's passing took place. And I think that that's beautiful. Just to give him that kind of attention and that moment of your focus, I think is a beautiful thing. But I know that for me, I kind of carry the weight of the day with me. And I think for me, it's because I feel so connected to Michael as a figure and as a person. So what I want to say is that there are times in my fandom when, especially when I'm talking to family or friends who are not Michael Jackson fans, especially, there are times in my fandom when I'm like, why do you care so much? He's a pop star. And that sounds so diminutive, and I don't mean it that way, but it's more of like a realization of like, you don't know him. This isn't somebody that you know. And of course, there's something parasocial about feeling like you know someone you've never met. But I have that thought. And then I remind myself of what I said at the very beginning here, the totality of him. That he was not just a musician. He was a symbol for so many people. He was a symbol. He was an inspiration. He was a safe place. He was a comfort. He was a reminder of the goodness and greatness of life and of the world and of people. He served so many roles and fulfilled so many needs on the human level, both just emotionally and like we all need some entertainment and escapism and distraction or whatever, but also as a reminder of what we're capable of as human beings in terms of great talent and great achievement, but also just greatness in general, of being a great person who makes their impact mean something. Their time on this planet means something. I've seen so many posts of people who have gone to see the Michael movie and they left with a feeling of motivation. I want to be the best version of myself. And then I saw other people who left it with the feeling of, I want to make the world better. I want to start doing something for other people in my community. I've witnessed this in content creators who started out not knowing much about Michael and then through reacting to him, started volunteering or started donating money or whatever. I've witnessed so much of the way this man has impacted people. So I think when you're thinking about like, how do you honor Michael on this day or on his birthday or really any day when you're thinking about him and you're feeling sad that he's gone or you're wishing you could see him, you're wishing he was still here, whatever, how do you honor him? Well, to me, it all comes down to, what is it about Michael Jackson that means so much to you? Because if he was just a pop star that died 17 years ago, if he was just a person that was once famous, and I want to be clear, no one is just anything, right? No one who is forgotten in time is nothing. None of those people are meaningless. They all matter. They all made a difference. They all impacted the world. Even people who have never been famous, who have never been known, everyone matters. So I don't mean that in a reductive way. I want to be really clear about that. But Michael's obviously different. We're sitting here having this conversation. Michael's different. There's no denying that. Why do you love him? Why? What makes you love him? What makes you not want to let him go specifically? What makes you miss him? What inspires you about him? What motivates you? What connects to you? For some of you, it might just be listening to his music makes you feel good. Or maybe you love to dance and he's inspired you to dance. For other people, maybe he inspires you because of the type of humanitarian that he was and his generosity. Maybe his personality and his awareness of his inner child gives you something back, maybe that you lacked or that you needed, and he grounds you in that way through what he represents in that sense. Maybe he inspires you, even if you aren't creative or aren't an artist. Something about his work ethic inspires you, and you want to build something from that. Maybe you just find him beautiful and fascinating, and you want to pay tribute to him because you care about something that you spend so much time thinking about as beautiful and fascinating. Maybe his spirituality and his closeness to the way he talked about a higher power, the way he talked about God, the way he talked about oneness and universality and creativity. Maybe all of that does something for you. Maybe you read Dancing the Dream and it makes the world make sense to you differently. Maybe all you need is to play, as one of my good friends does every morning. Play Don't Stop Till You Get Enough to motivate yourself to get out of bed and go fight for the things that you care about every day. Maybe there's something about Michael that speaks to something about you that's individual. It's not just, I'm a fan of his music. Now, if he is someone whose music you just love and dancing you just love or whatever, and that's all it is, that's perfectly fine, right? But there's still a way to honor him then today. Revisit an album you haven't listened to in a long time. Watch a concert you've never seen, or revisit one you haven't seen. Watch your favorite music video and try to understand what went into creating it and why he did it. Or return to one of the interviews in which he actually, in a very rare way, had the opportunity to talk about his creativity and what he cared about. If you love that part of him, do that. If you identify with him in a more spiritual way, read Dancing the Dream. Check out that writing, revisit your favorite parts of it, and sit with it and really contemplate it. If you're inspired by him creatively, do something creative in honor of him. I don't mean you have to draw a picture of him or write a poem about him. I mean anything. Sometimes I think to myself, when I lack motivation to be creative, I think about Michael, and I think he would say that to have a creative impulse or to have a gift creatively and not pursue it is like a sin, right? So a great way to honor Michael, if you want to, is to spend time with yourself, honoring your own creative impulses, your own creative outlets. If you identify with him as a humanitarian, volunteer somewhere, or find a great organization that you want to donate money to, or spend some time learning about a topic that's maybe a little heavy, maybe a little hard that you've avoided, but you feel like you should really care about. Michael also cared deeply about the environment and ecology and global warming. And, if you want to honor him, pick up litter, clean up your area and your neighborhood, plant something. I know this might sound silly to some people, but my point is, one of the best and greatest ways to honor a human being is to enact the things you took from them or learned from them, is to become the things that they influenced, and to do something in their name and in their memory. And it, like I said, it doesn't have to be about Michael. You don't have to sit down and draw a picture of him or write something for him or make a collage of him or whatever the case. You can do all of those things, and those are beautiful things to do. But you can also make the decision that you are going to tap into your own gifts, the things inside of you that make you unique, that make you connect with him. Find that and see what you can do to step up and do something for the world or for yourself that feels reminiscent of that. So I don't want to say too much more. I've already been talking for quite a while, but I hope that whatever you do today, whether it is the hour or so that you've spent with me here in this podcast, or it's something more and something else, something different that you do, whatever it is, I hope that you take a little time today to simply sit back and appreciate what Maya Angelou says, and that we had him. It's hard to have him not be here anymore, especially this year, as we see so much celebration around him. It's so hard to know he's gone, but we had him. And that is evidence, if nothing else, that we are blessed in some way because we were given this incredible gift of a person. And let's do our best to honor and appreciate that gift as much as we can. I do want to finally say, as one last thing, if you feel so inclined, I would love to hear in the comments or in messages or in an email, readingmichaeljackson@yahoo.com, wherever you listen to this. I would love to see you comment or reply or share with me, what do you do? How do you honor Michael on June 25th? Do you feel the need to? It's okay if you don't. It's fine. But you are here and you are listening. So you do obviously care about him being honored. Either way, I would love to hear from you. So if you would like to share, please do. But no pressure, of course. It can be very personal, so I get it. Nevertheless, I am going to bring this episode to a close, so I want to thank you for taking some of the precious hours of your day today to sit with me and be in this moment and appreciate the man that brought us all here today, Michael Jackson. So thank you all, and thank you, Michael, as always, for the inspiration, for the encouragement, the reminder, and the beauty of everything that you have given. And I love you. I love you. I love you. All right. I will talk to you all again very, very soon. Look out for me dropping the new season sometime this summer. We'll see. Otherwise, please check out the other episodes. Check out the rest of the playlists here and feel free to reach out. I would love to hear from you. Until next time, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day and week and summer. And we will talk again very, very soon. Take care.